I want to put my hand in the border. I'm standing in the United States, it's 103 degrees, and I'm looking across a river into Mexico. If someone wanted to, they could just swim across in like 2 minutes. Border Patrol has all of these mechanisms for making sure that that doesn't happen.
Eyes in the sky.
GPS coordinates.
Conic spots. Ocean X. Array tower.
The ATVs.
There's a laser. Alpha 5.
Shallow draft. Riverine vessel.
One sensor and another sensor.
Tactical Operations Center.
Binos,
Scouts.
Mobile units.
Agents on horseback.
There's been all this talk about building a wall on our southern border. It could cost up to $70 billion.
The wall, we're building the wall. We're building the wall, folks. We're building the wall.
Turns out there already is kind of a wall. In addition to the hundreds of miles of physical wall that exists, there's a wall of technology, of surveillance, where people and technology and infrastructure spend days and nights staring at the border. That's what I went down to Texas to look at. And I want to understand if the billions of dollars that we spend on this technology is actually worth it.
These white blimps, which are actually called aerostats, are tethered to the ground and they have cameras on them. These cameras can zoom in to miles and miles away to see what's going on the ground. They can see in the dark with infrared. They're able to see any sort of movement. This thing is called a raid tower. I just spent like 20 minutes inside of the control room. Man, we were able to like zoom in on people on the other side of the border and it was like super clear and perfectly focused. Then you have seismic sensors.
It's picking up movement. Sensors are set up to kind of create a path. Let's say, you have one sensor go off, a few minutes later another sensor goes off so that lets the agent know that they're taking a certain route. Now if it's that one sensor and another sensor, okay, they're taking another route and you know how long it takes from point A to get all the way to, let's say, the highway. So it kind of gives us an opportunity to gauge the amount of time that we have to respond.
Another way the Border Patrol does its job is with motion sensor cameras. Basically cameras that are out in the middle of the brush that have motion trackers on it. So when someone walks by, it takes a photo. Hunters actually use these to track like deer. They can see where deer are by taking a picture of them whenever they come in front of the camera. Down in this area of southern Texas, there's not a lot of walls, but they use the walls strategically to funnel people to other places, other parts of the border that don't have walls, but where they have cameras and where they have a lot of eyes. Now it's time to go on some boats with the Border Patrol.
You have to get past us before you can even touch dry land.
One of the tricky things about this specific sector is that there's a really windy river that goes throughout the entire thing. And because of that, a straight line between two cities might be 100 miles, but it covers 300 river miles. No matter how much fancy technology they have here to stare at the border, the most important function and skill that these Border Patrol agents have is what they call cutting sign.
There's brand new fresh sign right there. There's gonna be somebody here right now.
What's that?
There's somebody here right now.
Sign can be anything. Be a boot print, matted down grass, stuff left behind.
His heel right here and how it's kicked up, that tells us that he's running.
They use old hunting techniques in order to find out who was in an area, where they went, how many people, what they were carrying. Over the years, these Border Patrol agents have developed a keen sense for tracking down migrants.
The Native Americans did tracking. It goes way back. If you're hunting, you track.
Might be a child. You never want to see children making this trip.
One of the benefits to having the Border Patrol be this collection of people and technology is that you can move it around. Instead of having permanent infrastructure always in one spot, you're able to have this kind of fluid range of assets.
We're constantly adapting, we're constantly looking at new technology and different aspects that we can throw in their way.
All of this costs us a lot of money. The Border Patrol's budget is 14 times bigger than it was in 1990. It's just gotten bigger and bigger every single year. A lot of that increase in budget is going into this new technology, into this infrastructure. And so the next question is this actually effective? Only 30% of the people who are actually crossing into our country get caught by the Border Patrol. 30%. Even with all of this technology and all these people and all of these mechanisms for staring at the border, including walls, they still have a very difficult time keeping people from entering our country. So in American politics, if we're going to have this discussion about securing our border, we need to come to terms with the fact that this is an expensive and very complicated enterprise. And the idea that we can put up a wall or any other technology that would just solve the problem is ignorant and naive to the reality on the ground.